Right now in Israel, the debate is centered around a narrow strip of land in Gaza. It has become the focus point of fierce fighting and debate inside of Israel and also from foreign leaders as well. The odd thing is, this strip of land has everything to do with the security of the state of Israel, yet almost no one knows anything about it. I'm Ben and this is the Israel Guys. In 1979, Israel made a historic peace agreement with Egypt. As part of this agreement, Israel handed the Sinai they had captured in 1967 back to Egypt and a new border was drawn, not only through Israel, but on the southern tip of Gaza as well. The 14 kilometers of this border inside of Gaza became known as the Philadelphi Corridor. In 2005, when Israel surrendered Gaza to the Palestinians for the creation of a peaceful state, the corridor became a cause for concern. It linked Gaza with Egypt and the possibility of weapons being smuggled in from abroad. To avoid this, the Palestinian Authority and Egypt were supposed to maintain security and an intelligence cooperation that would keep weapons from being smuggled in. Then Hamas took over and turned Gaza into a living hell for Palestinians. And somehow, despite all the precautions that Israel took against a militarized Gaza, Hamas turned Gaza into a suicidal hotbed for terror, one armed with tens of thousands of rockets pointed directly at homes and children in Israel. Every year or so, Hamas would wait for the best opportunity they could get, then launch as many rockets as they could at Israel before Israel would hit them so hard from the air they would be forced to stop. Then they would beg for mercy from the world, holding up photos of hungry children and piles of bombed-out rubble, and the world would come running to their aid every time. Israel would sign a ceasefire agreement with Hamas, and Hamas would then return to biding their time, rearming as quickly as they could to do it all over again. This is the game they play, and Israel has allowed it to continue for almost 20 years. They know that there's no good solution for Gaza. Regime toppling doesn't really work when there's no good successor to Hamas, and bringing it back under Israeli control just would not fly in world politics. Israel would be seen as the big bad aggressor no matter how they explain themselves. Ironically, when it's Jews being shot at over and over again, no one seems to care. But in October of 2023, Hamas pushed the envelope too far. They caught Israel unaware and unleashed a level of animal brutality on Jews not seen since the Holocaust. This forced Israel's hand. They could not do this anymore. They ground invaded Gaza and began sweeping terrorist targets from north to south. They fought their way all the way south until they reached Rafah. Here, world leaders, including the United States, put an unbelievable amount of pressure on Israel to stop. Leave Hamas alone, they said. Civilians will die, they said. But Israel persevered. They evacuated the Gazans in the city, then attacked. They destroyed Hamas's hold in Rafah and then captured the Philadelphi Corridor, that strip of land that we talked about earlier between Gaza and Egypt, holding it for the first time since 2005. The fighting in Gaza up until this point has been very fierce. But you know what also has been fierce? The prayers of God's people in times of war and conflict. The people of Israel have always found strength and solace in the Psalms. Today, as we pray for the safe return of the Israeli hostages and Israel's complete victory in Gaza, we turn to these ancient prayers. The Israel Bible Book of Psalms, Pray Like David edition, captures this power, offering a way to connect deeply with God. As Psalms 91:2 says, I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. These words are a source of strength and protection, especially in moments of uncertainty and danger. This special edition features the original Hebrew text, English translation, and transliteration, making it accessible for everyone to pray like David. As we lift our voices in prayer for the hostages of Israel, let these psalms provide comfort, hope, and divine intervention. Experience the power of the Psalms for yourself. Let the Israel Bible Book of Psalms be your guide in these challenging times. Click the link below to get your copy and join a global community of prayer, standing together for the safe return of our loved ones. So as Israel fought for control of Rafah and the Philadelphia Corridor, Israel found something they had long suspected. Tunnels. Dozens of tunnels big enough to drive a truck through underneath the corridor between Gaza and Egypt. This is why world leaders pulled every stop to obstruct Israel from discovering this. Egypt has a peace agreement with Israel, yet they have been either purposely arming Hamas or simply turning a blind eye to what has been happening. This knowledge could upset the balance of power in the Middle East, undermining Egypt's credibility in the conflict. Up until now, Egypt has stayed neutral, acting as a mediator in the talks between Israel and Hamas. Plus, they have a peace agreement with Israel and are a strategic partner of the United States in the Middle East. Despite what they had every right to do, Israel largely kept it quiet, allowing Egypt off the hook, for now. But yet they continue to hold the corridor. In every hostage negotiation with Hamas has demanded that Israel surrender this strip of land, but yet they refuse. And every time a hostage dies at the hand of Hamas, Israel is blamed for it. World leaders, the mainstream media, on social media, and even Israelis are baffled as to why Israel would trade the lives of Israeli hostages for a narrow strip of land. The answer is very simple. Israel once gave Egypt and the Palestinian Authority the chance to preserve peace in Gaza, and they stabbed Israel in the back. Israel cannot take that risk again. Gaza must not have direct unmonitored access to Egyptian soil again. This is the only way to successfully stop Hamas or a terrorist successor to Hamas from rearming, and to keep what happened on October 7th from ever happening again. Even though it might cost Israel in the short term, even though it puts a hostage deal at risk, Israel must hold it. You can see why this would be a hard line for both Israel and Hamas, and why a hostage deal hasn't worked out. Without the corridor, Hamas stays largely disarmed. With it, they could rebuild militarily to fight Israel again and again. Israel has to be laser focused on the future here. While giving up the corridor in exchange for bringing the hostages home would feel amazing in the moment, it would set Israel up to fight this war again and again. It would be a disservice to the over 1,100 Israelis killed on October 7th. It would be a disservice to the over 400 IDF soldiers killed in the war so far, and it would also be a disservice to the Israeli people in general, whose children would be put at risk of death or kidnapping in the years to come. We will continue to pray for the hostages who are still alive in Gaza, for God to bring them back to their families quickly and in peace. Also, the IDF will continue to do everything in their power to bring them home as well. But we must make our voice very clear to the government of Israel. We support you in holding the Philadelphi Corridor. You must never allow Gaza to hold a direct, unmonitored connection with states that would allow for Hamas's rearmament. Guys, before I go, I want to play something for you.
Do you ever feel like you want to stop? You ever been close?
You may not have heard of Israel's biblical heartland or Judea and Samaria, but I bet you've heard of the West Bank or the occupied territories. Most people have heard these terms. The crazy part out is the world is obsessed with the piece of real estate we're standing on right now, but no one actually knows anything about the actual area.
Do it all.
We are here on the northernmost border of Judea and Samaria.
In the goal of the world to set up a Palestinian state, this would be on the Palestinian side of the state.
Right in your life, you're looking in the mirror, and the belief that you have and help you see it clearer. This is your moment of clarity, it gets no realer.
If this was created into be a terrorist state, 9 miles.
I'ma keep fighting.
Is that defensible? Nobody in the world would ever say that that's possible.
That's crazy.
You cannot defend a 9-mile strip.
I'ma keep fighting. I will hold my ground.
There's not a population issue in Judea and Samaria.
You can see here on the drone, look, I'm just gonna swing the drone around to the left.
1 million tourists come every year to visit the Dead Sea. What they don't know is that the Dead Sea is actually majority inside the West Bank.
Hey, and two, you probably just want to think about a Jewish state. There's already 22 Arab states, you dumbo.
Guys, the situation in Judea and Samaria is untenable. We've been working hard to put together a 4-part series detailing what a path forward just might look like. Stay tuned to the channel here at the Israel Guides, also theisraelguides.com for more information. It's coming your way very, very soon. Don't forget to check out Israel 365's Book of Psalms. The link is in the description. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. As always, stop listening to the lies and propaganda and connect with the truth of what is happening in Israel. We'll be back soon here at the Israel Guys.